In an adjacent Chicago town on the east of the Windy City lies the town of Gary, Indiana, famous for the Music Man, the Indy 500, and now a pattern of side-swiping collisions. During the cold winter of January of 1985, a side-swiping occurred. The incident occurred a little after 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, when most holiday shoppers were returning from the Windy City, bound for Michigan City, Indiana, when the side-swiping occurred. Although nobody in the 85 wreck was killed, 129 suffered injuries, mostly minor and moderate, with 12 ranging from severe to critical. The NTSB confirmed that the catenary wiring power shut off due to water condensation from the ice and snow entering the wiring. Technicians worked tirelessly to repair the possible damages. Plans were to shut down the interurban operations until the electrical current was working correctly. Both power cars were totaled and scrapped at the crash site. Some other damages were settled in confidential documents to conclude the lawsuit. One of the eyewitnesses said the hospital was inundated with bawling eyes and traumatic screaming from the ICU. ERs and ICUs were flooded with people recovering from injuries ranging from minor cuts and abrasions to critical trauma, including separation of body parts from glass shards and dismembered ACLs from the smashed windows slicing through some of the people. Even one gentleman's leg was sliced completely almost away from his ACL being dismembered from one of the glass shards from the windows on one of the power cars. South Shore also replied in a 48 hours document, "We are looking for new ways to have the electrical wiring safeguarded from any ice or water foaming at the top of the current. Also, a shocker to note to somebody that nobody suffered from anaphylactic shock from touching the wiring of the car's circuit breakers and conduit systems in the breaker box after the crash, even though that short circuit breaking from poorly constructed wiring was found from electrical boxes when they suffered their own malfunctions. The only two power cars, 1726, were scrapped in the disaster, ironically, but the engineer of one of the trains had pulled the emergency brakes through the catenary wires before the collision. But given the circumstances of the crash, it will be a long time before commuter trains are given another opportunity to ride the rails outside the outskirts of the Windy City, even though in this wreck, nobody was killed." Gary Reeves, CBS News, Gary, Indiana.